It has been a week since the assassination of Iran's Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei, and his funeral yet to be held. A new Supreme Leader yet to be chosen. So let's take a closer look at the role of choosing the new leader. Under the Constitution, the Supreme Leader is head of state and commander-in-chief. He controls the armed forces, appoints the head of the judiciary, selects members of oversight bodies and confirms the president. He's not directly elected by the public. He's chosen by the Assembly of Experts, which is 88 clerics elected by the public, and that election takes place every 8 years. Candidates must first be approved by the Guardian Council. If the Supreme Leader dies or becomes incapacitated, the Assembly of Experts must select a successor. The decision is made in a closed-door session. It's not a public vote. Until a new Supreme Leader is appointed, interim arrangements manage authority, and Iran's constitution is designed to ensure a swift transfer of power and prevent, in theory, a vacuum at the top. Let's explore this more with Zohreh Kharazmi, who is an associate professor at the University of Tehran, joins us from the Iranian capital. Good to have you with us. So this process of choosing a new leader, how do you think it's bearing up under the strain of the nation being under wholesale assault? Because we had heard from what remained of the Iranian leadership that it would be a very quick process, but still we have no decision.
Actually, I think that there are some news that the leader is selected but not introduced yet, because you see that we are just facing atrocities of the United States. They're coming from an Epstein-class rulers, the genocidal regime of Israel, and the United States is just badly attacking Iranian cities, Iranian even civilians. So, and the Ayatollah Khamenei is the martyr of this war. So it's very rational that Iran is thinking of saving the new leader. So choosing and declaring are two distinct acts. And I think that it takes maybe still a few days to introduce the leader, and it's very much depending on the security situation.
All right, so you're saying that these concerns, there are concerns that Israel has said very clearly that it will target whoever is selected. So what you're saying is that that person has been selected but is lying low to avoid being targeted, but is still controlling the situation in Iran and its response to these ongoing attacks. Is that right? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, and you know that we have such an experience about, for example, Hezbollah in Lebanon, that after Sayyid Hassan Nasrallah martyrdom and assassination, Hashem Safiuddin was just having the same, martyrdom and actually being assassinated. So these lessons are taken seriously by Iran, and I think that Iran would take very cautious and rational steps to preserve the new leader as well.
Zohreh, we've seen Kurdish positions being targeted by the IRGC, the Revolutionary Guard, to disrupt, as they put it, imminent infiltration. How much of a problem is the Kurdish situation for the Iranian leadership?
Kurds in Iran, like some other ethnic groups like the Turks, like the Baluch, are the legitimate citizens. And you know that the Assembly of Experts that are finally choosing the leader, the members, have already chosen and selected in democratic processes, and the Kurds themselves are part of the citizens that have voted for the members of the assembly. So I think that they're part of this decision making, and as these days in Kermanshah, in Mariwan, in other cities in Kurdistan, we had demonstrations that people come to streets to indicate their support for the Islamic Republic, for the next leader, for mourning for Ayatollah Khamenei. It seems that the sense of belonging is much deeper than the United States is thinking of.
It's not quite as smooth as you say, because there is this group of Iranian Kurdish parties that have formed a coalition, that was last week, to challenge the Iranian government. And indeed, we have Donald Trump saying he would back Kurds joining the fight against Tehran. It does present a complex situation for the current Iranian leadership.
First of all, Trump is a serial liar. Second is that when you're talking about this Kurdish movement and infiltration, you're not talking only about Kurds. There are Uyghurs, there are ISIS members, there are Al-Qaeda members that are joined and trained by the United States for such days in the region. Third is that Some, that even civil infrastructure, buildings, people's homes in Kurdistan is bombarded by them. So how the Kurds here are believing that they are coming to liberate them? Maybe there is a very marginal minority that is like the mercenaries of the United States. They like to be part of the plot, but the majority in Kurdistan doesn't look to be so.
You paint this picture of wholesale solidarity pretty much across the nation. But we know that's not the case, given that we had those protests, those widespread protests before all this began, several weeks before all this began, which became the focus of the world. And we've seen anti-government protests many times in the past. It's not wholesale support for the Iranian administration, is it?
Yeah, I don't mean that there is no opposition here, because Iranian nation is a broad nation, 80, 90 million people you are talking about. And it's very natural that just suffering from the economic terrorism of the United States and sanctions and some mismanagements maybe bring some opposition up. But what we see in this field, particularly after the beginning of this war, is that the social solidarity is really at the highest level that you can imagine. And when you say that you're talking about the opposition groups, some uprising some weeks ago, many of us here know that, and it's, just Iranian sources, that's reliable sources for me, is that when you're talking about Iran International, when you're talking about the Manoto, they are the, part of the mercenaries of the United States. They're trying to, brainwash the people against Islamic Republic. We have difficulties, we have economic sufferings, but burning the banks, slaughtering people in the streets, bringing chaos and anarchy is not something that the majority of Iranians wants. And I think that you see in the coming days as well that how they're standing against such plots.
All right. Zohreh Kharazmi giving us her perspective from Tehran. Thank you.